Welcome to BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, BNEWS reporters Tad Stefanak, happy birthday Tad, Robert Parris, and Maddie Shipka, with the Community Bulletin Board. Thank you for joining us. Two men charged with the murder of a New York woman in 2015 at the Extended Stay America in Burlington have been convicted. Middlesex District Attorney Marion Ryan and Burlington Chief of Police Michael Kent announced on Wednesday that Darrell Fisher, 23 of Roxbury, and Epshaw June, 27 of Burlington, were found guilty by a Middlesex Superior Court jury of murder in connection with the fatal shooting death of Senisha Johnson, 34 of the Bronx, New York, at the Extended Stay America Hotel in Burlington on July 2, 2015. June was also found guilty of armed robbery, armed assault in a dwelling, armed home invasion, possession of a firearm without a license, and attempting to commit a crime. Fisher was found guilty of unarmed robbery and attempting to commit a crime in connection with another robbery at the Woburn Red Roof Inn that took place on the evening prior to the Burlington murder. On July 2nd at approximately 12:30 a.m., Burlington police received a 911 call from the Extended Stay America Hotel on South Avenue in Burlington, reporting shots fired at the hotel. Upon arrival, authorities learned people staying at the hotel had called the front desk to report that they had heard a woman scream and what they believed to be a gunshot coming from a room on the first floor. Authorities say Burlington police conducted a well-being check on hotel guests on the first floor. Upon arrival at the victim's room, Burlington police discovered Senisha Johnson deceased. The victim had died from a single gunshot wound to the chest. Through their investigation, authorities learned that the defendants arranged to meet victims through a website, including Backpage.com, that advertises adult services. One of the defendants would knock on the hotel room door. When the victim opened the door, the other defendant would emerge. The two would then rob the victim at gunpoint. The defendants were located and arrested in Winchester on July 3rd. No word yet on the sentencing date. The Burlington Board of Selectmen set the FY18 tax rate during its meeting on Monday evening. The board held its annual tax classification hearing and set the residential and CIP, or commercial industrial personal property rates, for the following year. Burlington has a split tax rate, as you know, meaning that the residents pay one amount and commercial, industrial, and personal property owners, effectively meaning businesses in town, pay another rate. The big decision for the board is how to split the tax burden between residents and businesses. The first major factor is setting the tax rate is to hit necessary tax levies, the amount of money the town's going to spend, to keep services, pay town employees, and make payments on debt service, among other expenses. This amount normally goes up each year. In FY17, the tax levy was roughly $103 million, not including the state to cherry sheet. The key levy the board set this week for FY18 is roughly $107 million. This represents a 3.94% increase overall. The next consideration was the split tax rate and how much of the burden to put on the residents and how much on commercial properties. When deciding on how to set the split between both, the board weighs its desire to keep the residential rate low, so as to keep getting reelected, only kidding of course, so as not to burden residents, but also does not want to raise the commercial rate so much that it would slow economic growth within the town. In the end, the option chosen by the board, businesses will pay 61.8% of the total levy share and residents will pay 38.15%. So what does this mean for you, the resident? Well, residential rate is increasing by 2.33%. This means that the average resident will see an increase in their property taxes of $136 in FY18 and an increase of 2.78%. Residents will pay $10.62 for every $1,000 of assessed value of their property. This is actually lower than the $11.06 for every $1,000 of assessed value last year. So why did the average tax bill increase, yet the levy, the amount per thousand, decrease? Well, because the overall value of your homes in the residential sector increased over the past year. Town Treasurer Brian Curtin said the rate is lower than almost all the area communities. Let's have a look.
I just want to point out that, you know, I think it's remarkable and how fortunate we are here in Burlington to have a tax rate as low as it is. I mean, you know, depending on the options you pick, we could end up with a tax rate residentially that's below $11, which to me is, you know, I think very favorable in regards to all the, obviously, you know, communities that are close by, obviously. I think we end up, Jim's giving me a note here, I think we end up being the lowest, Jim? Except Woburn in this, you know, metropolitan area. So I think that's a tremendous, you know, attribute for Burlington.
A longtime Burlington liquor store is closing and a new business is taking over its liquor license. On Monday, the Board of Selectmen approved the transfer of the Booza Wine and Spirits license to Total Wine and More. According to its website, Total Wine and More is a wine superstore and is the largest independent retailer of wine in the country. Attorney Mark Vaughn of Reamer & Bronstein said the plan is for it to take over the license that Booza operates in the Crossroads Plaza at 34 Cambridge Street. The new Total Wine will be located in the plaza, but not in the same building. Instead, it is planning to occupy the site currently being used by the Bauer Hockey Store. Edward Cooper, Vice President of Public Affairs for Total Wine and More, says the company needs the space provided by that location for its inventory. He said the store carries roughly 8,000 different wines, 3,000 spirits, and 2,500 different beers. Who knew there were that many? Members of the Board of Selectmen asked the business representatives about its policies to ensure alcohol is not sold to minors. Vaughn said the store uses electronic ID verification and that if anyone tries to use an out-of-state or other non-standard Massachusetts driver's license, a manager must approve the sale. He also said that any vendor at the store giving samples must also check all identification before serving. The switch will not happen right away, nor will Boozer shutter immediately. Attorney Vaughn explained that the transfer still needs approval from the state, and during that time, Booza Wine and Spirits will operate as normal. He said 10 days after the state approves the transfer, the license will officially go from one entity to the other. This, he added, will not happen until after the holiday season. The Board of Selectmen took aim at 3 other businesses that have liquor licenses but haven't been using them. The establishments in question were closed restaurants Romano's Bonefish Grill and Macaroni Grill, and the approved but unstarted Burlington Beer Works project. Town Administrator Petrin said that this is an important issue for the town because liquor licenses are meant to be used to attract diners, which adds to the meal tax, of which the town, of course, collects a portion of on the local option. The first up was Bonefish Grill, which closed in January. An attorney for the restaurant said they are looking for another company to transfer the license to, but that process was slowed after the property owners of Wayside stated they were not interested in having another restaurant fill that location. Board members said they still wanted details sooner rather than later. They voted to hold a revocation hearing on December 18 and said that for the license to be renewed, they would need to see progress and details of a plan. In regard to Burlington's Beer Works, an attorney for owner Joseph Slazar of Slazar Brothers Brewing Company said the permitting process for the project was well underway and that he had spoken with Burlington Building Inspector John Clancy earlier that day. He said there were some delays in big part because the plans for the building changed last fall and they needed to get a special permit for the alterations. That, of course, would come from the planning board. He also said that his client does not have the resources of many of the big restaurant companies that have been opening up locations in Burlington. Still, members of the board expressed unhappiness that the project has been 2 years in the works and that the site has seen no development.
This has been going on I was on the Board of Appeals when that happened, and that was over 3 years ago when we approved the sign for your building. I was on that board. And this is just dragging the feet. I'm not blaming our town at all because we have really phenomenal employees in this town. Your boss, your client, whatever you want to call him, keeps dragging his feet. He did it with the sign. He's doing it again. And I couldn't be any more upset with the company in Burlington right now, to be honest with you. It's been over 3 years that this has been going on. So I'm in total favor with these two guys right here. That's all I have to say.
Jim?
I agree. It's 2 years. It's a liquor license we control. It's being held hostage. We don't have any control over it, and it's our license. I'm all in favor of giving you to the 18th, and I want to see something. I want to see some movement forward.
So
No
Joe,
more-
I'm sorry, Jimmy, I didn't mean to.
I don't want to see no more. I don't want to see any more delay. I want answers. See progress by the 18th next month.
In the end, the board voted to hold a license revocation hearing on December 18th and said that if they didn't see detailed plans, they may take the license away. Finally, the Romano's Macaroni Grill situation brought less heat from the members of the board. Attorneys there said that there was already plans in place to transfer the license to a new entity that is looking to occupy the location. They said that paperwork to transfer the license to Eddie V's, a high-end seafood restaurant, has already been filed with the town. In an annual event, the People Helping People in Burlington held their Wish Tree program at the Burlington Mall. The program helps families in the community have a brighter holiday season. BNEWS reporter Robert Paris went to check it out and files this report.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and the Burlington Mall is full of shoppers buying gifts for family members, friends, and loved ones. They are also stopping by to visit the one man who works to deliver gifts to kids all around the world, Santa. But jolly old Saint Nick can't do it alone. That's why one Burlington organization is trying to make the holidays a little bit brighter for families in need by ensuring every good boy and girl has gifts under the tree. This week I went down to the Burlington Mall to see the People Helping People's annual Wish Tree program.
Oh, so the Wish Tree started in the 1970s, and it started with one of the Skelton brothers dressing as Santa and providing children gifts through the American Legion. And eventually it evolved into the Wish Tree, and we've been at the mall for many, many years.
There are a lot of families that need help this season, and people like you can make it possible.
This year there are going to be 80 families, which equates to 200 children, which ends up being over 1,600 gifts that have to be purchased, sorted, and delivered.
Want to help the Wish Tree? Here's how.
So the Wish Tree is open Monday through Friday, noon to 8, Saturdays from 10 to 8, and Sundays from 12 to 6. So what we're hoping everybody does is come up, take a wish, go buy the gift for the child, and then return it here unwrapped by December 13th. So there's a lot of gifts to be purchased, and we really need the community of Burlington to come out like they always do for everybody in need in this town and come take a wish.
The holidays are a busy time of season for people in town, and if you can't make it to the mall, you can make a donation on the People Helping People's website.
We have a brand new website. It's peoplehelpingpeopleinc.org, and there's a place there that you can go in and make a donation.
People Helping People is having another ongoing fundraiser throughout the month of December.
We also have, in addition to the Wish Tree going on right now, the Capitol Grill Raffle. In the Capitol Grill Raffle, it's our 7th year, and the tickets are $20 each. And the money that we make from the Capitol Grill Raffle will buy holiday dinners for the families of the food pantry during the month of December. You can go right online to our website and purchase a ticket right there. And those tickets are going to be on sale throughout the month of December, with the drawing the first week in January.
Finally, during the holiday season, there is one thing you should always remember. It is always better to give than receive.
One, take away the feeling of helping somebody in the town of Burlington who's in need. We're very fortunate in this town that everybody comes out in full force to help those in need in the community. People Helping People is very blessed that the mall hosts us every year. You know, they've been doing this for years. We couldn't do it without the Burlington Mall.
From the Burlington Mall, I'm Robert Paris for BNEWS Weekly.
With more and more items being purchased online, especially during the holiday season, the Burlington Police Department is offering advice to help prevent your packages from being stolen. Police Chief Michael Kent and the Burlington Police Department are reminding residents of several safety precautions when ordering items online to ensure that their gifts don't fall into the wrong hands. FedEx and UPS offer services to assist customers during the holidays. To best ensure that your packages are not taken, Burlington Police recommend the following strategies. Request notification on your deliveries via phone or email to monitor your packages in transit and upon delivery. Always require a signature on your deliveries to ensure packages are never left unattended. Consider sending deliveries to an alternate location that someone will be able to receive them, whether that be a workplace, a neighbor or friend's house, or FedEx or UPS locations. Schedule your delivery for a specific date and time that you are expected to be home. You can also set up a vacation hold if you plan on traveling during the holidays so that gifts won't be left on your doorstep for extended periods of time. If you find your package has been stolen, reach out to police and report it immediately, particularly to the vendor. Never accept a surprise delivery where payment is required, and never give out personal information when receiving a delivery that you have purchased. Also, there are reasonably inexpensive alternatives in terms of security as far as surveillance cameras and video monitors that will alert you if anybody is on your doorstep. For over 20 years, the Saheli has offered free services to address the challenges faced by the South Asian immigrants in Massachusetts, with a focus on issues concerning domestic violence. BNEWS reporter Tad Stefanak recently visited their offices here in Burlington and has more.
Founded in 1996, Saheli is a Burlington headquartered organization with a mission to empower South Asian women and their families.
Over the years, we have learned the major issues that impact our community as opposed to the mainstream community. And the perpetrators of violence in our community are multiple. It's perpetrated both by the husbands as well as joint families, in-laws. And the co-abusers in the situation sometimes are the natal families who talk about the shame of what's going on and add to the existing trauma of domestic abuse. You know, they're facing, they come here on H-4 visas and are unable to work, so they're facing isolation, and they have no means of getting to know the rules and regulations and laws of this country. Yeah. And it is an issue of power and control. And in the case of our community, it is also linked to the patriarchal culture of our lands that we come from.
Along with shelter and financial resources, Saheli provides legal workshops, assistance with education and college, and parenting skills.
Since they're mostly H-4 visa dependent women, so we give them options, right? We also put them in touch with public benefits that are generated by the government. We are not doing anything to encourage divorce because it's not acceptable. We would rather help them work towards reconciliation, because divorce, according to our community, has a negative impact on children.
A fundraiser is being held for Saheli. I spoke with the event's co-chair, Savita Rajiv.
Our goal is set to raise $100,000. The gala is on December 8th at the Woburn Hilton Hotel. We start at 6 p.m. It promises to be a fun event, but we are also going to have a lot of domestic violence awareness components that is built into the program. We have a very famous New England classical dancer called Jayashree Rajamani, who's going to open up the program with a classical Bharatanatyam dance that she's choreographed specifically for this event. We also have 3 incredibly courageous survivors who are willing to share their story at the event. It's not easy to share their turbulences of what they went through in their life. We also have a very powerful domestic violence video that Preeti Amin created, actually at BCAT.
I asked how one can attend the Saheli fundraising event.
You go to the website saheliboston.org, and then you have a link to Nirbhaya, and once you get to that link, you will be able to buy the tickets. If you want to bring in all your friends, you can buy a table. The table is $700. It seats 10 people, or you can buy individual tickets. It's $75.
From the Saheli headquarters here in Burlington, I'm BNews reporter Tad Stefanak. Back to you in the studio.
If you are aware of any domestic abuse of any kind against women, children, the elderly, or anybody in Burlington, don't hesitate to call the police department. Talk directly to the police chief. He'll take care of it immediately. The Burlington Board of Selectmen is looking for community members to volunteer to take a look at the structure of the town government. During its November 15th meeting, the board agreed to appoint a committee to conduct a review of Burlington's current municipal government structure to determine if a change is needed in order to make the operation more effective and efficient. At this time, the Board of Selectmen is seeking residents and others active with the town to submit their names for consideration using the supplied application. The new committee is looking at the structure of the town government, was first suggested by town meeting member and former Board of Selectmen member Gary Giannino. He was at the July meeting and suggested the selectmen at least look into the possibility of forming the committee, saying that now the master plan review is well underway, it was the right time. The Board of Selectmen agreed to consider the proposal and formed a subcommittee made up of members Robert Hogan and Mike Runyon. On November 15th, those members recommended the committee be formed. The committee will be formed in early 2018 and will be asked to complete its work in a diligent fashion so that the Board of Selectmen can give the due consideration as to whether steps will be needed to implement any recommendations. The committee itself will not have any authority to make changes, but recommendations will be considered by the board. Of course, any changes to the town charter would be subject to a townwide referendum, particularly if it eliminated the Board of Selectmen and town meeting. If anyone is interested in being considered for appointment, you can find a form to volunteer on the town's website at burlington.org. The Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce held their big annual meeting this year to go over the accomplishments of 2017 and to talk about the year ahead. BNEWS Director Rich Hosford was there and files this report.
The event room at Cafe Escadrille was filled with people mingling, eating, and networking on Wednesday night for the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce's 2017 annual meeting. During the event, chamber members highlighted the accomplishments of the chamber, the local business community, and local public officials. They were happy to talk about all the things done during the previous year.
Last year for the chamber, that we've seen a lot of growth in the last year, not necessarily in different events, but in the amount of people who've been coming and the diversity of the businesses. So 2017 brought the chamber a lot of different types of businesses coming together and networking and doing things that are for the betterment of not only the business community, but I think for Burlington in general.
Well, I think that the chamber is becoming increasingly relevant in this community. We have a strong representation of Burlington residents that not only have businesses here, but they're residents and they really want the best for their town. I think it's very fortunate, the economic condition right now in the greater Burlington area. The jobs are here. Just about all the amenities we could possibly want. Things are good.
I also asked what was in store for the chamber in the year ahead.
Well, I think getting the word out, one of our biggest challenges is workforce development. We're at the center of many of the educational institutions, but it's transportation, getting them here, that poses a real threat to the area as far as getting those talented workers here. Everyone's chasing them, but we have the amenities that lure them in. We have the young workers. They want to be able to have walkability. So these are some of the challenges to make sure that we have some of those younger workers and emerging businesses that help diversify the community.
The keynote speaker for the evening was the Massachusetts House of Representatives Speaker Robert DeLeo. He said he has heard great things about the Burlington community and thought it was important for him to visit.
Well, one of the things I know, and I hear especially from Representative Gordon, is the fact of what's going on in Burlington. I listen to it and hear it quite often. And why it's important to me is to come out to talk to the business folks and some of the residents of Burlington, so that when we're talking about budget items and we're talking about economic development bills, being here and listening to some of the people give me a better idea in terms of what we can do to be helpful, not only to Burlington but to this general area.
Speaker DeLeo said a lot can be accomplished when the business community and elected officials work together. I asked what were some of the areas where he thought cooperation could make a difference.
I think I think especially in terms of this area, I think transportation is extremely important. I think that when we're talking about some of the tech businesses outside of the Boston, Cambridge area, again, I think that this area is important. And I think that this part of the Commonwealth plays a very important, is a very important piece in terms of the economic stability of our Commonwealth. So I think that when you put all of those together, I think that the partnership between the Burlington area and state government is an important one.
DeLeo's message was exactly what Rick Parker wanted to hear.
If you put all politics aside, when you hear someone speak about working together, understanding the big picture things and understanding that it's a give and take. There has to be open communication, there has to be compromise, but I think in the long run, when you have that connection to your legislators and they're coming out and willing to talk and willing to listen, that's the start of when good things happen.
At the Cafe Escadrille, I'm BNews Director Rich Hosford.
Avoid a ticket or even possibly having your car towed by parking it off the street. Burlington's winter parking ban goes into effect on Friday, December 1, and will be enforced until April 1st. During the ban, no vehicles can be parked on the side of the road between 2 a.m. and 8 a.m. The ban is put in place to make snow removal easier for the Department of Public Works. The ban is enforced by the Burlington Police Department. Offenders can be subject to a fine of $50 per offense. Also, if a vehicle parked on the side of the road impedes or interferes with snow removal, the town may have it towed at the owner's expense. There's no snow yet, but we know it's on the way. Peter Brown, speaking of snow, is out this week, but never fear, he sent along his forecast, and BNews reporter Robert Paris has stepped in. We go to him now for the weather report. We'll also check out the community calendar with Maddie Shipka to see what's happening in and around Burlington.
Hello, I'm Robert Paris, filling in for BNews weatherman Peter Brown, who is out this week. We start our weather report with the almanac. According to the numbers, we pretty much see an average temperature with a high in the low 40s. Historically, there has been slightly warmer weather at this time of year in the past. However, the historic low for this day is 8 degrees in 1976. It must have been a great day for people scraping ice off their Ford Mustangs. One final note on the almanac is that the days are getting shorter and shorter. Sunset on Friday will be at 4:13 p.m. But don't worry, in just a couple weeks, days will be getting longer and longer each day. I can smell the barbecues grilling already. Now, let's take a look at the 7-day forecast. I do have to say it seems like an average week with the temperatures in the mid to upper 40s with a chance of AM flurries on Friday. The weekend looks relatively cool and downright cold at night. We enter earlier in the week with temperatures rising and a chance of rain on Tuesday and Wednesday. The end of our 7-day, we will see the coldest temperatures of the week of a daytime high of 37 degrees and an overnight low of 18. Brr. That's all for now. I'm Robert Paris, filling in for Peter Brown, who will be back next week.
Hello, I'm Maddie Shipka, and this is your community calendar. You better watch out, and you better not cry, and you better not pout, because I'm telling you why. On Friday, December 8th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m., BCAT will be having their annual event, Santa Visits BCAT. Parents should be sure to set their DVRs at home, as the children will meet Santa live on BCAT. Don't forget to bring your cameras for the ClearShot photo station, provided to take holiday portraits of children with Santa on our holiday set. Everyone is welcome, and the event is free. For more information, visit bcattv.org or call 781-273-5922. Grab your family, friends, and siblings and get ready for a holiday stroll. On Saturday, December 9th, from 2 to 5 p.m., 3rd Ave will be having their annual holiday stroll. There will also be food samplings, carolers, and much more. Santa Claus will also be there to take pictures. Everyone is welcome. For more information, visit 3rdAveBurlington.com or call 781-272-4000. Oh, Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree. On Sunday, December 10th at 4 p.m., the Burlington Parks and Recreation Department will be having their 46th annual holiday tree lighting on the town common. Come kick off the holidays with this special town event for young and old. There will also be caroling and a visit from the jolly old man, Santa Claus. Everyone is welcome and the event is free. For more information, visit burlingtonrecreation.org or call 781-270-1695. I'm Maddie Shipka, and this has been your Community Calendar.
Another week, another photo to highlight. This week is a staff photo of some of our holiday survivors poking around behind our studio. It was taken the day after Thanksgiving and shows some turkeys milling about the BCAT van, perhaps celebrating being safe for another year. We'd like to see your photos. They could be of something you see around town, whether outside your own door, or photos of your family members, friends, and pets. Whatever you think is interesting and would like to share. Email your photos to bcat@bcattv.org with the subject line Photo of the Week. Okay, that's it from the news desk here at BNEWS Weekly. I'm Phil Gallagher, along with BNEWS Director Rich Hosford, Tad Stefanak, Robert Paris, and Maddie Shipka with Community Calendar. Thank you for joining us.